Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the CyberGizmo, we're going to be looking at Ubuntu 1910 server right after this. So one of the operating systems that I use here in the lab for both my x86 and also my small, tiny ARM CPUs is Ubuntu. The smaller ARM machines run Ubuntu 18.04, and the larger ones run 19.04. And the x86 machines, of course, are all running 19.04 as well. Normally, I prefer to run the LTS versions if I'm doing something that I'm trying to stay in sync with a package that is being supported outside. I know that it's a lot easier, and having that longer term support is nice in order for those outside packages to catch up, because they're not always in sync. But yeah, Ubuntu server I've used for quite a while, and I really do like it. So I'm looking forward to testing 1910. Some of the new features, now these two features are part of the 1910 server, and that is there's a landscape tool that's used to deploy, monitor, and manage Ubuntu servers. The landscape supports live patch, and then there's server provisioning with MAAS metal as a service. I've always heard that as hardware as a service, but that's okay. I don't know if they mean something different, but generally bare metal just means that there hasn't been anything installed on the machine. It's plugged in, it's wired to the network, but there's no operating system on it. There's a cloud-style provisioning for servers, and it's designed for complex networks. It does support Windows, Ubuntu, CentOS, RHEL, and SUSE. So quite a complete package for support in a system. I don't know how well that will work with my servers here. I'm sure that it uses some form of ID management on the systems, and none of mine have that. So don't know how well that's going to work. We'll find out. The Linux kernel has been updated to 5.3, and that adds support for AMD's Navi GPUs, and also for some of the new ARM socks, like the ones from Qualcomm that we talked about in a previous video. And I'll put a card in the link so you can go check that out. There's the default kernel compression is now LZ4, and that also applies to the init RAMFS. So that speeds up both in creating the kernel on an update, and also in doing the boot, which should help make things faster. Quite a few updates to the toolchain. glibc 2.3. Now there are quite a few benchmarks with glibc, and the 2.3 has a lot of performance enhancements in it. So that's good that they've added this to the release. There's also quite a few security enhancements to that version, as I understand it. OpenJDK 11, that's one version level below what Oracle has for theirs at the time of this. Now, I haven't checked recently. It's been a few weeks. So the last time I checked, they were at version 12. RustC is 1.3.7, and GCC, the 9.2 compiler, which has, again, more security enhancements and more performance enhancements, both in the compilation and in the execution. Python 3.7.5 and Python 3.8 for if you're just using the interpreter. Ruby 2.5.5, and there's PHP 7.3.8. Perl 5.28.1 and Golang 1.12.20. Some of the big improvements, though, to the toolchain have to do with cross-compilers, which may not be too important for you, but it's important for me because I do have to do some cross-compiling once in a while from x86 over to ARM, both for the ARM7 architecture and the ARM64. There are also RISC-V 64-bit targets in here as well. Good changes. So hopefully those are improvements both in ease and also performance, and we'll see. Security features in the GCC, we mentioned it earlier, but the specifics are it supports stack clash protection as well as control flow integrity protection, and those are important things in order to thwart any kind of hacks into your system. It's just another level of security that you need. But one of the good things that Ubuntu has done here is that any packages that are in the main repo have been compiled with that GCC compiler and have those protections built in. So that's very good, and good job, Canonical, on doing that. Images, PowerPC 64EL and ARM64 live server ISO. I'm assuming that these are talking about the server, like the ARM Cavium Thunder X or Thunder X2, in that realm. I don't know if they support those those smaller machines back there, but I guess we'll find out. But they're saying this is production ready, and it's the preferred way to install the Ubuntu server on bare metal in those two architectures. So I'm going to give that a try and see if it actually works. Now, currently what I have to do is I have to go back to the manufacturer of the board and get their version of the build, because the socks are just different enough sometimes that it requires a specialized kernel in order for those to work. QEMU supports a software 3D GPU inside QEMU, and that's using the Virgi renderer. Of course, that's not going to be as high performance as a real pass-through GPU, but there are times when you have a server that just isn't possible for that to occur. Maybe it doesn't have any PCI slots. Maybe it only has one. There's a number of older servers that only had one PCI riser in them, and those were generally 8-bit. So that's not going to accommodate a modern graphics card, or even be able to power one. And a lot of them just didn't have power on the motherboards. The new ones, of course, do, but there are still some older hardware still floating around. So that offers some options to allow you to run applications that require 3D acceleration. So that's a good thing. LiveVirt allows QEMU to use parallel connections for migration. Migration is one of the more time-consuming tasks that you do with QEMU, so it's good to see that they're making some improvements to the performance of that. MySQL version 8, PHP 7.3. There's also Raspberry Pi versions for both the 32-bit and 64-bit. Now, in the desktop version of Ubuntu 1910, the 32-bit version is not available. So there's only a 64-bit for x86. But for the ARM platform, it looks like they are providing a 32-bit support. Also, that version supports Raspberry Pi 4, as well as Raspberry Pi 2, Raspberry Pi 3B, and 3B Plus. If you have a Pi 3A Plus, there's a problem with the boot right now. It locks up, and it locks up before the console comes on, so it doesn't have any. So I assume that means it's failing in the U-boot, because generally that happens before it enables the console. So I'm sure they'll get that fixed. It's just right now it just won't boot. OpenStack Train is supported. That's the latest version of OpenStack at the time of this video, and Cloud Init has been updated from 18.5 to 19.2. I don't use that, but if you're deploying architectures into a private cloud or a hybrid cloud, I'm sure that's going to be important to you. So let's see if I have. First of all, I guess I need to do the virtual machine first. So let's install this, and I am running this under VirtualBox. Seems to work fine with servers, but I've been having some performance issues with it running the desktop. So it's asking me the typical questions on my keyboard layout and variant for the US and US. DHCP is fine. Proxy address, don't need one. That's fine for the server. And then it looks like I can set up an LVM or use the entire disk. We'll just do the entire disk for now. Going to create a couple of partitions, and that's fine. Go ahead and give it my information in order to get it set up, and I'll install the OpenSSH server. I'm not going to install Docker. I'll do that later from an external package. This is the way I usually do it. And it's off. So I'm going to pause it here and let it install. This probably won't take very long. The server product usually doesn't take very long at all. So we'll probably be right back. And it's done. It took about 4 minutes, I would say, in order to fully install and update itself. So we'll go ahead and reboot this. And it probably give me, yep, it did. Which is fine. Gave me a bunch of error messages about the CD-ROM not being ejected, but Ubuntu doesn't usually have a problem with this. It's the ordering is the hard drive first usually. So, and that looks like that is definitely coming up off the hard drive because it's setting up all this stuff. Okay, and we're up. I just want to check the IP address, and then I'll go over to an SSH session so that I can copy and paste into it. And it looks like I'm on 118. There's still stuff coming up, but that's okay. Let's see. I want to switch that over. So let me do that. I'll just log in from here. Probably be a lot easier to see too than on that tiny little window. So yeah, we can. Yeah, it's at 5.3 as we can see up here at the top. And let's see if htop is installed, and it is. So we're using about 151 meg of memory out of 3.8 at 27 tasks running. This is very lightweight, and most of the servers are. That you know, the idea behind them is to give the power to the applications that are running, and try to kind of stay out of the way as best they can. What I'm interested in here, I don't know if you are or not, but one of the things I'm interested in is GlusterFS. So I'm kind of interested to see what version it is. The current version that I run on the ARM machines is 6.5 point something, I think 1.1. And it looks like, yeah, 6.5-1 is the latest one. So, okay, so I should be able to install that. Before we do that, though, let's see what we have here. So we're occupying 5.9 gigabytes of space, and that's really good. 5.1 was 1804, so it hasn't gone up a whole lot. And then there are some snap packages that are installed. The LXD is a snap. I'm going to assume, you know, some of the other things are as well. And I was probably a little harsh on the desktop review of that, so I'm going to be quiet. And I'll just, all I need is the common for GlusterFS, which is the client side. Actually, I need, if I do the client, it will get the common. Yeah, okay. Don't leave out the command. Let me just make sure. Yeah, common is in there, and so that's good. We'll install that. And then what I'll do is, this will take a little bit, but after this, I'll go ahead and attach it to my test system, and we'll see if we can actually do anything with it. Should be able to. I mean, Gluster's one of those things that just works. Even with a drive failure. I've had several drive failures on the spinning Rust, which are being replaced as quickly as they fail. That has been up. That system has been up for 4 years. 4 years now. So yeah, a lot of those drives are getting pretty close to end of life. They're not the enterprise drive. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that you get some extra life out of the enterprise drives, but they cost an awful lot. Looks like we're about done. All right, so let's make a directory. I'll use the Bohr machine. It seems to work. All the videos I've done for YouTube. And I did a performance test. I just wanted to see 6.5 on the 6.5 version of Gluster. They added support for moving the data around a little bit more efficiently using sharding, and that seems to really make a difference. If you're in a replication mode, you have to turn that on. It's an option, but if you turn on sharding, and any files you add from that point on to the existing pool will be sharded, and they are significantly faster than the old method. I wiped mine out, set the option, and then reloaded the data. And yeah, it has made a huge difference. If I was doing this list right here or through the directory, it would have stuttered. It would have gone down through the directory tree, but it's not doing that anymore. Okay, so some of the things we want to look at. We've looked at memory. We looked at the tasks. One of the other things I want to look at, I just want to see what the default is. I don't think they've made any changes to this. Of course, this wouldn't be Ubuntu making these anyway, but nope, nothing here that's really changed. So the other thing that I do, the first thing usually that I do is I do a Linus run, and so we'll do that now. Go ahead and download it. Linus has to have its directory and all the files under it owned by root. Otherwise, it will complain when you try to run it. It'll say, you have to make me owned by root, otherwise I won't run. We'll do an audit system. So Linus is a tool that allows you to evaluate the security posture of your system. It is only a tool to give you a guide to kind of help you understand some of the things that you're missing in order to harden your system. It is by no means complete, but it will, after you've completed the steps and you get as high a score as you can, you're a lot better stead than you were when you started. And I'll run this. I have a video on this and some of the other tools you can use to perform the initial hardening. Now, once you're done with this and you get this all hardened, you are still not done because you also have to make sure that the applications you're running are also hardened, and databases and the data in the databases, and your network connections. So yeah, there's quite a bit of work after this. So typically, before I look at the score, typically what I usually get on Ubuntu is about 65. That's usually about the number that I get, and which means I have this is a hardening index out of 100. I'm at 65 out of 100. So 66 is what I got, or 65 is what I got. Same thing. So I'm not shocked. That is pretty normal. And it's telling me I need to have IP tables loaded. Yes. Some of the home directories are not set correctly. Password on the grub loader. Yeah, these are all pretty common. This isn't different from any other time I've run this. This is usually a starting point with most servers. And I've run this on a number of them. There's some variations, but not great. So it's suggesting some packages and some configuration changes. It's telling me that I need to harden my login defs, my maximum and minimum password aging, and also the UMask. And so yeah, this is pretty common. I usually just script these, and of course there's some system variables that it doesn't like either. As you can see right here, it's making recommendations to those changes. Also, it's looked at the file permissions that are of critical files that it considers at risk, which would be like password and shadow. So it's telling me I need to make some changes there. So again, not a big shock, and that's about where I would expect it to be in the start. So yeah, not bad. So not bad at all. I would like to play around with the cloud init, but I don't think I'm going to have time to do that in this video tonight. We've already gone on here pretty long already. So I think what I'll do is spend some time with that on my own and maybe come back to you. So yeah, I do really like Ubuntu Server, and I always have. I just think it's rock solid. It's secure. They're very quick to patch things, and yeah, I just have had no problems with it. It just works, and that's what I like. It just works. So with that, I think I will put this one to bed for now, and then come back and revisit it after I've had some time to really get under the covers and play with some of the utilities and some of the new things that they've done. I would like to see how well the compiler works and the libraries, and run some benchmarks and kind of get a feel for that. So I just wanted to get a cursory look at this and then be a little selfish. I know I was a little selfish. I was looking at stuff that I was interested in, but hopefully you came along for the ride, and hope you found it interesting as well. If you did, please like and subscribe. And as always, see you again next time. Bye for now.